Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome to, I guess, since I just found out, I'm doing Sumerian September a month early. For those of you who don't know, including myself, I guess next month is a big Conan month for the gaming world, and of course I'm early as usual. So before I knew that, I had planned to do this because I just read this today, and that is Royal Armies of the Hyborean Age by none other than Lynn Carter and a man named Scott Bizarre. I'm familiar with Scott's work, and of course we're all familiar with Lynn Carter's work, having worked, on so many Conan stories. And this, from what my research has told me, is technically the first Conan game. Yes, Conan appeared in the Deities, Demigods, and Heroes book from TSR, but not officially. This is as official as you can get. As we know, Conan was removed from all later editions of D&D, but he did get his own Conan game through TSR in the 80s, I want to say. But this is a war game written and created by Lynn Carter and Scott Bizarre. More Scott than Lynn Carter, obviously. And it does come with very, very little artwork, but the one very interesting piece of artwork that it did come with, I believe that's actually over here, something I used to have a much better version of, and I will be rectifying that situation, but a nice map of the world of Hyboria, the Hyborean Age, with all the locations. I hope you guys can see this because I can't see what I'm showing you, because I can't see through paper that well. But it's a nice little tri-folded. It probably is 8.5 by 11. You should have just folded it once, but I digress. Within its 50 some odd pages, 55, 60 pages, something like that, 56 pages actually, is everything you need to run a tactical war game in 25 or 15 millimeter scale, which obviously 25 millimeter is sort of gone out of favor in the past couple of decades, but I know there's still people out there doing it, and I will get into the miniatures after I go over the actual game. It's a pretty straightforward game. 20 hits will kill a man, which is really generous or really weak, depending on how you look at it. It's a point-buy system where you get so many points to build your army, but there are also prefabbed armies in the back. You can have heroes, superheroes, wizards, sorcerers, priests. There's very, very little magic. There's about 10 forms of, or spells, I should say, that you can actually use that, they're not too bad, but they're not great by any stretch of the imagination, except the Black Sleep, which will put one of your opponent's superheroes, and only one of your superheroes or heroes or wizards, I think, to sleep. And a hero or superhero only counts as 3 to 5 men on the battlefield. However, they are killed last, so that's kind of okay. You can have chariots and woolly mammoths and cavalry and archers, things like that. It's a very simple game. Most of the game is covered in about 20 pages. Movement, flanking, combat, morale. Morale, despite what many people would tell you, is a more important aspect of combat. In this game, it's not as much, because it is based on the Conan stories where an army would fight to the last man, which we know that's not really going to happen. But in the Conan sense, you can get those kind of results. Of course, you can also still fail your morale and have units start heading for the hills. It's not a bad little game, but I really don't see it being played anymore because of so many other options. But if you were interested, maybe a few of my friends out there would be interested in something like this, and I know you could find a copy of this out there on the high seas, or you could probably check eBay. It was put out by Fantasy Games Unlimited. They made a lot of games that I liked, a lot of weird games that I may pull out of mothballs and show you guys later, besides the obvious Villains and Vigilantes and Bushido, I think, were their big hits when it comes to what they put out in the old days. I'm glad I picked this up, although it's not in the greatest condition, other than, well, if it weren't for these two dings in the front cover, it would be really remarkable condition, considering that it's almost older than I am. So go ahead and throw in your old man jokes down there in the comment section. But not bad, not bad. I'd play it if I had the units and the table to play. You're going to need a really big table, like a ping pong table, at the very, very minimum, because some of your movements are 12 to 24 inches for cavalry and things like that. So you're going to need a pretty big space to play. Now, let's go into the miniatures. I have a source that I got these miniatures from, but another source who, let's just say, can get you some of the Raul Partha Hyborean Age miniatures that were all based on Conan, maybe not 100% one-to-one kind of thing, but they'll hook you up with whatever you want if you were interested in playing this in 25mm scale. Otherwise, you'd probably want to use historicals, which is a great thing about this book. It does tell you what kind of miniatures you would need for each unit, like Vikings for the Aesir and things like that. Different earthly equivalent cultures that would stand in a pinch for the different factions, the different armies and nations. What I do have, let me pull these out. I love these cases. If you guys know where I can get more of these, I need about 50. The 99-cent store used to carry these cases, and I have about 30 of them, but I can't get them anymore because 99-cent store is out of business. And in here is a complete collection of recasts of the Heritage line of Conan miniatures, which were, as far as I know, the first and only real licensed Conan miniatures. One of the miniatures in the line was actually a 54mm Conan. These are all in white metal because they're recast. His sword and scabbard are in the box. It's kind of a pretty decent sculpt. I've never wanted to paint any of these. I may do so now for the Mini World September Challenge, but I've also got a Conan on, I think it's Conan, on a saber-toothed tiger. But it's got a lot of the units, the Red Brotherhood and the Frost Giants, which I think was a repurposed Heritage model from something else. A lot of the different factions, but not really enough to fully create. There's another, that's Conan in 25mm. Some of the females, I think Belit and Red Sonja are in here, and Thothamon and some of the other wizards. But they all came in, blister packs of roughly four miniatures per blister pack for like $3 back in the day. And oh no, this is the Conan miniature. I think this is Conan, or maybe it's just another Conan. But they're all really nice minis. And my friend who makes these, I think he only charges like $3.50 a mini. I think that's Thothamon or one of the undead sorcerers. But it's really not enough to play this war game. It would be great for maybe the TSR Conan game, but it's just not enough to play the war game, because you're going to need hundreds of miniatures to do that. But if you're a historical guy, you could probably cobble some stuff together and create a couple of armies and try this out. Let me know in the comment section if any of you guys have ever played this game, or if you'd be interested in playing it, or if you've played any other game that I'm unaware of in the Conan theme. I'd also be interested in hearing about that. as you know, I'm a huge Conan fan, but there's really not a lot other than video games, of which there are plenty, and that's great, but I'm more of a tabletop RPG wargame kind of guy as opposed to video gamer. I did have my video game decade where I played a lot of video games, but my heart's still in the minis and the dice and the table and all that in person kind of thing, which is getting harder and harder to do. So like I said, any thoughts on this game or any other Conan games, let me know, and I will talk to you guys real soon. Tomorrow, after this video, later on in the evening, Bubba, DM Beelzebubba, and I will be talking about Mega Dungeons, and then Thursday evening, Doc Flamingo and I will be talking about his Age of Blood and Iron, his second book, which will be all on the supernatural and magic and sorcerers and strange monsters and things like that. So stay tuned. We got a busy couple of days before the weekend. Until then, have a great week, and I will see you guys real soon, and happy trails.